Hey, what's up? We're on the Nova Group channel taking a look at these AR NVGs from AB Night Vision. Been using this guy for about a year and a half, give or take. Basically every single time I've done night vision, with only a small break to review the Nocturne Daisho Tanto combination. But outside of that, I've been using this. And I've been pretty satisfied with its performance so far. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a binocular housing, so there's really only so much you can do here, but it's one of the nicer ones, so much so that 2 people in my group have bought one based off of their experience using this guy. So all it really is, as the name might imply, AR NVGs are articulating RNVGs. So ruggedized night vision with articulation built in. The regular RNVGs are fixed, you can't move them, all they have is an interpupillary kind of slider to change the distance between your eyes. This one is that, but instead of that, we have articulation. Generally speaking, for general use, you don't really need articulation, but it is what I would call a nice quality of life. You can obviously do the cool guy ranger thing where you flatten it on your head like this while pointing it forward. I've never really done this because I don't really see the purpose of that, at least for civilians. We're not that high speed, low drag. But what typically happens most often is you're going to stow this back up on your head, like so. And because this is so far out due to, physics, lever arms, and all that good stuff, pulls a lot down on the back of your neck due to how far this is out. So you can simply just move the device back like this in a quick fashion, and it takes a lot of strain on your neck. And that is like 95% of the reason why I like articulation. There are some other bits where, like, if you're in a car or something, this sticking out like so is going to bump against the ceiling. Pretty rare, just leave the nods on, right? Every once in a while, I may be in a bright enough environment such that I only want to use one tube, and I'll flip one of them out of the way like this, and that kind of lets me have a quasi-monocular. Useful a lot of times, say if I'm filming, right, on a cell phone, but it's also nighttime, so I want one eye aided at all times. So yeah, I mean, that's 90% of the spiel right here. It's a very simplistic unit, like the RNVGs, on button, and a IR illuminator. This does not have manual gain, which you can absolutely view as a downside. It's powered by a single CR123 in the back, or you can use a LEMO port over here. The CR123 lasts about 20 to 30 hours, give or take. I've never really measured it. As far as I can tell, though, if there is a downside, it does not indicate low batteries like the PVS-14 does with a little red light in the corner. That red light only comes on when you're running the illuminator, as far as I can tell. I have never seen it turn on when the unit gets to low battery. Essentially, what's going to happen is, as the voltage drains on the low battery, one of the pods is going to cut out before the other one, and then you're about 30 minutes away from losing power to your night vision device. Second downside, it's these clips right here. So this is what your little bungees are supposed to attach into. Because they're out there and they're so small, the bungee tends to bind on this. Or similarly, if you lift it up just temporarily and you want to do something, the way these are positioned to being on the pods instead of on the actual main part of the housing tends to pull the pods into a flat position, which you may not always want. Other bridges, I think, do this part better. So without a battery, we're getting just shy of 20 ounces. So a little on the heavier end, or perhaps actually on the very heavy end of dual tubes, but really within about 1 ounce of basically every single unit on the market, aside from the ultra lightweight ones, which this is not, an ultra lightweight design. It's a ruggedized design, and it acts as such. So why would you particularly want AR NVGs? Well, I mean, it's mostly in the name. They're the ruggedized night visions that can articulate. And being ruggedized and all that stuff comes with a number of benefits. It's a very, very solid feeling unit, which, I'd fucking hope so. These housings are not cheap, but they're also not all that expensive in the grand scheme of housings you can buy for, night visions. 2 PVS-14s roughly cost about $1,800, right? So much more on the low end, but they weigh a shitload. The Tantos that I reviewed previously, those cost about $1,700. You can get some katanas, and those are about $1,700 as well. The 1431s are about the cheapest nods you can get that still are kind of, worth a fuck for the lack of a turn. You can go a little cheaper and get something like LLULs. or roughly around the same price, but those are a lot more janky. And considering you're spending so much money on the tubes, I'd rather get something slightly nicer. So the AR NVGs are about $2,300. You can go a little bit more expensive and get the DT NVSs, but personally, having messed with both, I prefer these slightly more. They feel a little bit more, rugged, right? The articulation is buttery smooth. Also, tan just looks good. So, yeah, that's really about it. There's no point to keep on yapping. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.